Upside down. I don't even know what to say. Last season, it was a great moment. But everyone knew that it was going to require thorough planning to keep this team up. Bison got ripped out. It was basically like having a needle shot for your heart. It was a damning blow, but with right planning, it could potentially be saved. At least you have Kenneth Lim. Oh, wait, no, he's been ripped out to Ironside. So your two key factors to you getting promoted last season have been ripped out. You could say O'Connor, but he was utterly destroyed by Bison. So what do you do now? The answer is to throw Connor Ryan and an unproven Vietnamese man in the seats. Spoiler alert, you're now sitting bottom and haven't scored a point in 10 races. The principal has gone inactive and the whole team is a floundering mess. Ryan and O'Connor will not get you promoted, unless you sign someone vacant to replace Wilder with probably Ryan going to the Rumble. I don't see any reason this will happen. This will not end well for Upside Down. The future is bleak and the present is bleaker. You'll get relegated around a point till the end of the season, or maybe one fluke result like we saw. But no, we're Connor Ryan. There's still some hope into you before you get relegated back to mid-table ITCL mediocrity. It's a bleak time to be involved with Upside Down. But on the plus side, if the principal is inactive, he might get removed from power. Maybe then you'll get the fresh outlook that the team desperately needs. Because right now there is no planning with Upside Down. It's just hoping and praying that average talent does something. Sure, this plan might have worked with Tiberghien when they had Jerome Mathers in the Rumble, but Convin Lee is not a Jerome Mathers. He won't keep a team up. He'll only add to the problem. Ironside, I am disappointed with your season so far. Coming into this season, I legitimately thought you could be one of the surprise packages of the season. Dagger Crow, I was hoping was going to step up and have a big breakthrough season. I mean, sure, the 230k wage contract was grossly overpaid, but on the plus side, she was a damn good driver who was beginning to prove herself excellently. Kenneth Lim, I thought, after finishing second in the Rumble last season, was going to take the steps necessary on paper to prove himself as one of the key midfield drivers this season. Kenwin J was nothing special, but he had proven he had the ability to get points in the Rumble. The EOS system didn't really matter. Jonathans and Axelson both suck, but on the plus side, no one cares about them. And I gotta admit, you've been underwhelming. Although that's not really down to anyone but Kenneth Lim. Dagger Crow has driven the wheels off of that Upside Down despite a shaky start to the season where she scored 1 point from 5. But now that Ironside have actually put the necessary upgrades, Dagger Crow is showing what a fucking amazing driver she is. Seriously, Ironside sits 6 places below Stoffel, and yet Dagger Crow has the same number of points this season as Ezio de Ventura. Ezio has also blown up for the lead about 7 separate times, but it doesn't matter. Crow has picked up 2 podiums in a team that should be absolutely nowhere near the podium. Heck, had events gone another way, she could have easily had a way to win this season. But I suppose that's motorsport. Kenneth Lim has been arguably the flop of the season. I expected him to be competent. Nowhere near on a par with Crow, but I was expecting him to take solid strides to becoming a good driver. 6 fucking points. This man has been outscored by 11 points by the likes of Linda Roder and Vivek Singh, both of whom have had utterly disappointing seasons by their own regard. Even Benjamin fucking Madison, who hasn't driven since round fucking 3, has got just 1 less point than him. What do you do with Lim? You load him up to an ITCL team and hope and pray that he develops like Ramicus and Harrison, or do you say that he maybe is a bit older than that and maybe chuck him in the Rumble? At least Kenwin J is doing what I expected. 12 points from the first round. That's sort of the level of expectation we expected from him. The issue for Ironside this season has been Kenneth Lim. If they're not careful, they could legitimately turn into WTCL's answer to Mallard, a team which always has a brilliant first driver but never can seem to back it up with a competent second driver. The other issue for them this season has been just, well, yeah, that. The issue is Ironside lost both Licksteiner and Christopherson, and arguably it's replaced Christopherson with Crow, but it's yet to replace that Licksteiner driver, a competent second driver who can match the first driver. Lim will probably develop into it, but he's going to need time. Do Ironside play patiently with the rebuild, or do they panic rush and try and get rid of Lim for a proven driver to match a crowd? And if so, does that mean the Ironside go all in on the title, but it might potentially backfire spectacularly? Let's not forget they're not doing particularly great on the financial stats. They're on 2.9 million this season in the bank, and let's be honest, their costs are already high. Give another big paycheck to someone only a part of the crowd, and they're going to want similar wage. That kind of driver is going to cost money. So I guess they got to ride it out with Kenneth Lim. All the while, the team could be in fight. However, the issue there is if Crowd has a bad few rounds, which can happen, we saw that at the start of the season, the team could become an absolute mess. Ironside are on an iceberg right now. All it takes is one bad weekend for Crowd and the whole team could collapse. It's a dangerous game that they are playing. It's going to require excellent leadership to see them through this tricky season. On the plus side, Danko Crowd was a future WTCL champion in the waiting. You know, I didn't expect Esther to be this fucking good. I'll admit it, I thought Esther was not even going to be a title contender. I mean, I thought Esther was going to be good, but did I expect them to be this fucking good? Absolutely no way, Jose. Seriously, I expected Esther to be solid, but it's going to be another season of Esther. Sure, they might string together a few good results, but this is Esther. They also have a tendency to collapse the shittest. And well, they proved me wrong. I'm still not convinced by Mariette Boucher as a driver, but even I have to admit that she's had an excellent season. Somehow. Yeah, it's a weird season when I'm praising Mariette Boucher. Katsuki Nomura has proven that last season was not a fluke. Heck, he might even take the driver's title at the moment, the way he's driving. Although the issue for Nomura has been the same. Win a race, or do absolutely fuck all. Basically, fix Nomura's inconsistency. When he's damn fast, there's a reason why he's second in the championship. Savile Winford in the Rumble was expected to be a very solid option. Going in Bathurst, she leads it by 3 points over Amara Perez. And I'll say those two are going to have a duel with Darwin and Vice and don't look on the pace of them, and neither does Massa or Win J. Esther are in an excellent position right now. The only issue with Esther and their title charge is it does rest on an iceberg. What for is Kaisuke Nomura in? If he goes for that one like we saw earlier in the season where he picked up 5 points in 7 races, then there's a good chance his title collapse could collapse around them. Plus, let's not forget that Boucher has only actually taken a good haul of points in one of her last 5 races. The lead is deceptive right now. If the Nomura or Boucher go back to being the Nomura or Boucher, then there is a chance that Esther could absolutely crumble it to end up not even in the top 3. But we'll have to wait and see on that. You know, Envy, I'm not even disappointed. I'm just sad. I expected you to absolutely fucking dominate the series. And you're 55 points behind the title leaders as we go into round 10. However, there was a reason for this. The team just collapsed. This year, the competition was leveled out a lot. It meant that actually good drivers could actually show their ability. And so once NB no longer had the car advantage, they no longer have the driver advantage on over the entire field. Mendez is good, but he's not on Muna. And not even Muna has looked particularly great compared to his normal standards this season. It's just been annoying. And yet, despite their entire fucking issues, Envy are still second in the championship. Muna has picked up a win in a couple of podiums, and even when he wasn't doing great, he was still getting points. Which can't be said for Ildefonso Mendez. That round 5 to round 7 slump really did hit Envy hard, but this is Envy. And the team leadership is arguably one of the best on the grid. Whenever they hit a rough spot, they keep the faith and just put more upgrades into the car. This is a testament to how well one Envy has run. They've got a load of money and excellent drivers. They've lost Wolfgang Weissen. I mean, that's a blow for sure, but who cares? Sure, Charlotte Thompson was a washed-up stain, but we can take a gamble on her. Mendez and Luna are good enough to the point where even if she is shit, we will still be able to feel a title charge. Sure, it might be a blow to lose Bison, but if we can get Thompson back to her best, we've got a damn good Rumble driver there. There's no more needs to be said. Envy is the perfect example of how well to run a team. Financially secure with top drivers, and even if they lose a driver, they can just go out and spend the money to get another big name. They might not win the title this year, but they are going to challenge Esther and Stoffel hard. If they don't win the title this year, I'm going to be interested in their moves during the off-season. They maybe get rid of Mendes, but I don't feel like he's been the issue. I think the issue for Envy really was that they had a massive car advantage last season over the entire field. They didn't have that this season, and their driver advantage wasn't significant enough. Look at the driver standings. Got the likes of Linksteiner, Balajin, Cordova, Knight, Nikolaev, Hackinson, Ezio, Crow. Leicester's been in there, both Esther drivers, Lingvis, even Muda. The driver competition has been absolutely evened out this season. This is the issue. Envy just need to keep doing what they're doing and they will win another title. Esther could collapse at any moment. I mean, this is what happens when the team principal goes inactive. There is nothing else to say. Santos' principal is inactive and so the team has fallen into a state of disrepair. Hackinson is on the verge of retirement, Firmino is still a fraud, and nothing is coming in. Apparently there was a deal that Boucher returned to Santos for season 6, but with no principal to confirm this, there is nothing they can do. I'm moving on because it's like beating a dead corpse. I mean, this is sort of what you expect from a classic Nürburgring season, right? Panic press, start the season out slowly, panic press the button, get rid of a promising driver, get rid of the driver who'd been underperforming and throw big money at a big name to try and replace them. This is what Nürburgring have done for every season so far, and it has not worked yet, and it is not working again. Don't get it wrong, Louis Cordova has definitely been helped by the regulation changes, but he's not exactly been flawless this season. Outside of his win in second, he had a good result in the first race at Monza for sure, but he's also failed to score points in 5 races that he's finished this season, and 3 of them were feature events. He also blew up twice, which wasn't his own fault, to be fair. As for Manon Dion, well, she hasn't quite had the big impact everyone was hoping for. Albeit the car being about as reliable as a fucking 1964 Ford is about doesn't help either, but at least her win in Japan will hopefully raise her confidence. The big issue for Nürburgring is the drivers. Apparently Cordova wants to force out, but he's apparently now stayed on. The issue is they're spending nearly 500k a race for Cordova and Dion. I like Cordova, but his rating in the hub continues to decline. He's now not even a 90 caliber driver. You're paying nearly 500k for 2 drivers who are not even 90 plus. Yeah. The one more option at the moment is Liam Henry. Now, what we do know is he's leaving. The real question is who is replacing him. Well, that answer goes to Haley motherfucking Knight. Yep, no acting off funny. Basically, Cordova's now off to fucking Ranger, and they get Knight. It's a good deal for Nero, but there's every possibility Knight could decline. Sure, Knight might be amazing. What everyone seems to be forgetting is that she's also 30 fucking 8. She could literally fall off a cliff next season and it would not bat an eyelid. Although at least there is a switchback clause which at least prevents Nero from being completely shafted. Camilo is not a great one-more option. Don't be surprised if he dies. Dion is staying in the seat, which is fine, but I'm not convinced she's what Nürburgring needs. Nürburgring need to really think about planning. Nürburgring have always just pressed the panic button and gone with whatever suits the team at the moment. There is no long-term planning with the team. They sold Rast, who was arguably the most promising youth driver. And who is their youth options now? Ready for Singh? There's going to be no youth to replace the current youth at Nürburgring. It is a mess. Why, Maui? Yeah. I don't know. How do you take 10 podiums and end up 4th in the fucking championship? Seriously, how the fuck did you mastermind that? I would say David Lester has been the issue, but that would be a complete lie. Lingvis has been the issue. Whether you like it or not, he is the reason that they are struggling. I know what you're thinking, he sits top of the Drivers' Championship, but it is a false position. Of his 168 points, a good chunk of them were taken in the first 5 races. Since then, he has taken just 1 podium from 9 races. And outside of that podium, his best finish was ninth. I mean, really. David Lester has been a surprisingly competent driver, to be fair. I mean, he's definitely a sprint race merchant, but 2 wins and and 2 podiums is nothing to be scoffed at. Then the issue is sprint races pay nothing, so he's 15th in the championship. But I suppose 2 wins and he can go shopping. That one up my arse. A decision to get rid of whoever that Rumble driver was for Silvio Almeida. Yeah, that's a fucking suicide when they win the Mitzvah title charge. What do you even do at this point? Lindqvist is amazing. Lindqvist is, on his day, the best driver on the grid. The issue is Lindqvist has periods where he shits the bed. This is nothing new. He's done this in Season 2, Season 3, and even Season 4. Lester is a sprint race merchant. He's not going to get those points in the first race, which is needed to sustain a title bid. I mean, they now face a crucial phase. What do they do? Don't get it wrong, the team is good, but it's aging. Lester might be a solid driver now, but he's turning 40 next year. Lindqvist is also approaching his late 30s. He's going to start declining soon, and once that happens, the team really is going to shit the bed. I'd say one of your youth options will do it, but I'm not sure who. Maybe Milligan, but his JTCL debut was uninspiring. Bodie and Bolton also look like they're not going to be anywhere near the ability. I mean, at least you've managed to keep the lineup together. And the only exception is you brought in Holzer. Holzer could prove to be a good youth option, but he hasn't shown enough for me in ITCL to convince me that he's going to be the ability of even a Leicester in the future. Why are we in a tough position? Their 2 main drivers have a average age of 37, and the Rumble spot doesn't look like it'll be good enough, and the youth drivers coming through won't develop into the standard they need. Combine that as well with the fact that Lindqvist is on an absolutely monstrous 230k a race, and yeah, why Maui need to really get some youth in. You know, Platinum, I am genuinely shocked at how well you've done this season. They're going to own the Excited and Nikolaev are solid drivers, but I saw there was nothing more than that. Lower mid-table drivers who would win an ITCL championship, but are just not good enough to carry a WTCL team. But for whatever reason, something has gone working at Platinum this season, and they're enjoying a very good season. I don't know whether that's down to management or Excited and Nikolaev remembering that they're actually supposed to be fast. Either way, I don't think anyone's complaining. Combine that with Joe Mathers finally waking up from his season 4 coma and ending up doing well in the Rumble this year, and there is time for optimism at Platinum. To make things even better, Licksteiner and Nikolaev are tied down till the end of next season, which means they're not going to get involved unless Project Liberté submit a high bid. Joe Mathers is also tied down, which means there's a good sense of security at Platinum. James Smith has been loaned out to Motorline though, and once again he's not really delivering the performances that we would have expected from him, and his JTCL campaign has been a complete dumpster fire. So investing in the youth will probably be the aim for Platinum. But there is a good vibe at Platinum right now. All their drivers are secured till the end of next season, they're not on ridiculously overpaid wages, and the team is performing well. There's nothing to say here. Platinum have had a good season, they're well won. The only issue is they do probably need to get rid of James Smith to set him off to an ITCL team. But other than that, Platinum have had a good season, they're well won at the moment, and the team is in a good mood. The only real question I have is what if Licksteiner and Nikolaev start driving like Licksteiner and Nikolaev again? That'll be a question that they'll need to answer, but they've done it, they've seen it before, and they've coped with it then. That'll be fine. They're 5th in the championship somehow. Mango. Basically, if Hayden Light begins to decline, this team is getting relegated. I mean, really, what do you even need to say? Starry Barricades wasn't out of her depth in WTCL, and she needed more time to develop. They've basically given up on the season and put Nakajima into the scene. He wasn't even good enough for JTCL. They win the Rumble, and I'd like to say that Sarah Roseback has been good, but unfortunately she isn't the standard you need. Mango are basically pinning all their hopes on Haley Knight. If she has a bad weekend, the team has a bad weekend. Something will be said here. And it's a dangerous game as well. She's on 210k a race, and you're loaning her back with a swap with Cordova for next season. Moldova, who's on even more money than her and has the potential to be even more of a gamble. Oh dear God. Mango are playing a very dangerous game, especially given their financial situation is not exactly the most stable in the league right now. It's going to require very careful planning from Wenger to oversee the troublesome financial issues and second driver and just general driver issues. An aging driver lineup, or a driver lineup which is either aging or just not good enough. The plus side is Nakajima could become a decent youth driver, but there is no guarantee of it. His JTCL performances were not enough to convince anyone. Seriously, the man was getting outcompeted by fucking Aaron Bergman. It's a mess. Mango will need careful planning. You're going to Brazil, motherfuckers. Angelo Torres is the only reason this team is not relegated. I mean, what do you want me to say? Carlos Sava was sold, which was nice, but he wasn't really a problem. If anything, he was probably the most competent driver at the time of selling him. Angelo Torres was a decent deal, but tell me this. Why did you not make a maneuver like this at the start of the season? Yes, we all thought Goldschmidt was going to become a god. That has not happened. But then why was the plan to stick Corleone in the seat? Tell me, maybe one good race that Corleone has had since season 3. Yes, you can't. It doesn't exist. He has been a washed up stain ever since his injury in Spa. Yes, he had a brief renaissance at the start of season 3 with Leicester, but it's all gone downhill since. Torres is on 41 points, and he's the only reason they're staying up. If Torres gets bought out, basically announced relegation to ITCL, it's over, Drake. Give up. Paraguay are just depressing. Every time you think that they've finally got a chance of cracking into the title race, they'll find a new fucking way to disappoint you. What? Now there's reports that the team principal might leave, and Debbie and Diane Andre Babinu are not particularly impressing. And DA has kind of stagnated ever since his big paycheck, and Babinu has never really got going at the team. So what do you even do? You could sell a DA and Babinu, but the real question is this. Who's going to want to buy them? Yeah. Who? DA is 37. The only people buying him are going to be absolutely suicidal. And Babinu is locked into a huge contract till the end of season 8. Which means that the team that buys him is basically locked into a horrible gamble. They also gave up their best youth driver, Mikhail Jensen, to Project R for next season. What the fuck? You basically just gave up the future replacement for NDA for nothing. You literally gave him up for nothing. You gave him up for fucking nothing. 3 million. Might sound like a lot, but a few upgrades on one driver purchase and all that money is gone. If their team principal leaves, Paraguay enter a rebuild. They will have no good use to replace the aging and DA and the underperforming Babinu. They're going to need to fix the Rumble seat. It's just a mess. It might look good now, 7th in the championship, but all the teams that end up being terrible end up in good positions, and that's when it falls apart. Paraguay have been safely won for years, but it's this safe way of manoeuvring that has ended up shooting them in the arse. They took 2 big gambles with the Babinu contract, and they took 3 big gambles, giving NDA a new deal, giving Babinu a fucking long deal, and selling Jensen, and all 3 of them have not paid off. Now the principal might leave and the team needs a rebuild. Yes. On the plus side for Paraguay, you might endure a race win this season. But if you are a Paraguay fan, relish the memories now. They won't last long. What more can be said? This is probably what we expected from Shogun Yakai. Linda Rodel has been a disappointment though. Although surprisingly the breakthrough star has been Dolly Chebetsky. Yes, her podium looks like an anomaly, but she has scored crucial points when needed. And it's not like Linda Rodel has particularly taken those points either. As for the future, well, they've managed to secure Betsky to a very long-term contract. I've got to be honest though, this is an incredibly risky manoeuvre. Yes, there is every possibility that this is her breakthrough year, but we said the exact same thing about Rodel last season, and it's not like she's been particularly impressive either. if you end up with Linda Odell Part 2, Shogun Yakai could find themselves in a very bad situation next season. There's also the question of what you'll do about the Rumble. Escano has proved solid and he's got the experience to keep you up. But he's also 39 and he's beginning to decline. Also, your system is fucking trash. With Martinez has done okay in JTCL, but he's nothing out of this world. And Lewis Shaw didn't even qualify for an ITCL race once. Shogun Yakai will require some careful planning to master around the Rumble and potentially acquire a good youth driver. But Shogun Yakai are in a safe enough position where they don't need to worry about it all. They could just happily go along at about 11 or 12. They're basically WTCL's answer to Southampton. It doesn't matter what they do, they'll always be in the bottom half and no one can change it. Stoffel were looking like a legit title contender again, and then they realised they were Stoffel. SEO keeps going up, Balashin has been solid, Perez is good, but yeah, Ezio is washed. Ezio is basically Sebastian Vettel. He left the team that he won the title with, and now he's a shell of his former self. Tell me, would Season 3 Ezio have been fucking 12th in the championship? No. I don't need to elaborate anymore. He is the problem at Stoffel. We're ending it with Tiberghien. Horrible management has run this team into the ground. There is no money, there are many in debt. You and Singh are average drivers who have failed to perform this season. They might get relegated, although that depends on whether or not Upside Down realise that they're actually going to get relegated if they don't do anything. The only positive to come out of the season for Tiberghien is, well, Georgie might leave. I mean, that's a positive. If he leaves, then Tiberghien might finally get the massive overhaul in the backroom staff that it's been needing ever since season 3, ever since season 2, really. But they don't. Tiberghien continues to just about stay up every year. And since they never go down, they never learn from their lesson, which is that this won't work. They're basically turning into WTCL's answer to 2010 Sunderland. Sure, they continually just about stay up, but they think it's reliable and that this will always work. And look what happened to Sunderland. With the financial issues they're in, a relegation to ITCL could legitimately be the end of Tiberghien. There would be nothing left. They would just become a lower mid-table team who everyone would forget about. Suppose on the plus side, if Georgie goes, maybe they'll have a situation similar to Lava where they actually get a principal who knows what they're doing. But given how mixed the principals in this entire division and also the ITCL are, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. The season actually started out promisingly as well. But now just 1 point from the last 9 races and no money to upgrade it and no money to replace either Sting or you who are locked into contracts. Tiberghien are fucked.